What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask TNH Live. I am on Instagram at Theo and Harris, answering your questions about watches and watches and watches. So let's do it. All right, quick wristwatch check before I get into today's episode. I am wearing a personal favorite reference 1803. This is a second generation day-date. This particular model has a very early Buckley dial. Buckley dials are dials featured, I believe, only on second generation references, sometimes third if it comes to Datejust. Really, it's painted Roman numerals, and almost all Buckley dials are the same, except color variation. But very early in Rolex's history of this painted Roman numeral thing, there were these thinner Buckleys where the numerals are thinner than the later thicker models. These are much rarer. They're not better, they're just rarer. So in the world of vintage Rolex, rarity with condition is huge. So this watch is available in the Theo and Harris watch shop, and until someone buys it, I'm going to be admiring the shit out of it. Cool. First question. What do we got? Anna? Best women's watches. Why would you pick that? I have no idea. Let's transition to the question that I want to answer. I had a conversation with a friend the other day about buying a woman a Cartier. Cartier is a brand that I have a very deep passion for. Cartier is a brand that my friend has a very deep passion for. And he, not so long ago, bought his wife a Cartier. His wife enjoys watches. She has great taste. She loves great design. But, it came down to what's the ROI here. You have an option that is the Tank Solo in steel, quartz. We believe it's like the entry-level Cartier you could possibly buy, a couple $1,000s, or you can go with a yellow gold Tank Louis. Now, would my wife prefer the Tank Louis? Maybe, but the Tank Louis is $14,000 or $9,000, whatever it may be, and the Solo is $2,000. So is she going to enjoy it $10,000 more, or would she rather I spend the $10,000 elsewhere, like a vacation or something like that? We came to the conclusion that the Cartier Tank Louis in steel is a wonderful watch for a man or a woman, but really for someone that wants that Cartier look without having to spend a fortune. And that happens to very often be for women because Cartier has a more refined aesthetic. It's sleeker, it's more delicate, which, although that's my taste, typically it's not so, as embraced by men, but more so by women. So that's a great watch for a woman. Cartier Tank Solo. It looks like a hot shot for not that much money. Best world timer. Jeez. We did a video, Anna and I, the other day about watches that are decreasing in value. Modern watches, vintage watches that are decreasing in value. And one of the watches is a Patek world timer. I think the newer model is prettier. I think that the case has more definition, it has more character, more punch, but the predecessor still is gorgeous. It's a highly complicated Patek. The prices are between like $27,000 and $32,000, which is a ton of money, but compare that to compare that to the watch market right now. Daytonas are selling at $22,000. So a Patek world timer in white gold is $27,000. Huge value prop. Huge value prop. If you want to go down into a lower category, you have the Nomos Zurich world timer, which is technically a GMT, I believe, but still, hi from Petaluma, someone just said.
Hi.
But still a great value. You can have those between $4,000 and $5,000 secondhand. So, I'm a big world time guy. Next question. Why don't Theo and Harris watches come on Theo and Harris Jean Rousseau collaboration straps? Really good question. The answer is simple. We make the best straps in the business, bar none, basically. No one that has purchased a watch strap from Theo and Harris has been dissatisfied. Everyone has been blown away. Everyone that has ever purchased one, and there's hundreds of clients, have, many people have said, geez, you were kind of annoying with the way you sold them. You were so confident. You were kind of cocky. Like, I didn't really believe the hype, but now I have it, and it kicks my other straps' asses. Not even close. And the prices are actually, although expensive, pretty much so under market compared to our competitors. So, boom, Teenage Jean Rousseau. Why don't we put them on our watches? Very simply, they're $180 straps in calf. They're $350 in exotic. I can't make you buy that if you don't want to buy that. I'll sell you the watch on a more affordable strap, a strap that has very little impact on the price of the watch. And if you want to upgrade, I'll sell you a different strap. But I can't, to force everyone to buy those more expensive straps would only be doing me, on a retail perspective, a disservice. People are going to, want to pay a lower price, or they're going to say, oh, this watch is $100 over retail, over to pay. Then I'm going to say, okay, well, I can sell it to you on a different strap, and it becomes a whole thing. When it comes to retail, we want the easiest transaction. And once you have to raise the price and include more, some people, are going to take a step back and not want to purchase. What would I do different if I were to restart Theo and Harris now that I'm a few years in? I would just do everything that we've done just quicker. Like, we didn't have an office, like a recording studio, to like year 3.5. That was dumb. There was no reason why we didn't do that. That was just sheer, our head is in the sand, our head is so far up our own asses doing work that we didn't think about, the big picture, things like that. I would have doubled down on YouTube quicker. I would have planned my videos out better, many of them. I would have done a lot of things differently. I would have expanded I would have raised money. I would have asked my dad for money, which I never did. He probably would have given it to me. I started the company with 10 grand. If I invested another 20 or 30 a year in, it would have been much larger. I'm glad I didn't do it that way in many ways, because now it's my company, and not my dad's, or a cousin or whatever, or a regular investor. But the point is, there are a lot of things you can go back and wish you did, but I didn't do them. So get over it, keep hustling, and don't dwell on it. All right, now it's time for the merch giveaway. So, best question, whoever asked me the best question wins a T&H t-shirt. Why don't Theo and Harris watches come on Theo and Harris straps? Really good question.
Hasanoff 75.
Hasanoff 75. You win a T&H shirt. For those of you guys who haven't seen our recent merch, check this out. So, like Rolexes are it's like the Oyster Perpetual or the Oyster Date or whatever. Well, I like the term Oyster Date. So this is an oyster date, and it says, want to go back to my place.
They're oysters.
That's 2 oysters holding hands. And then we have a dirty version that says, want a bone. 2 oysters. 2 oysters. Want a bone? This is our merch. This is our merch business. Just one big joke. I love it. I love these shirts. Suprema Cotton, all available in the Theo and Harris Watch Shop. Adios, guys.